Welcome back to another episode of the Drunken Ship Podcast, everybody. I'm Bryan, and I'm here with CyberCalamity, otherwise known as Crockett, and 700 other names.
The one who is mini.
The one who is.
Do you know where I get that from? Do you know where I get the one who is mini?
From Legion, I think. From like the. I don't. Where do you get it from?
I get it. It's a Ghidorah in King of the Monsters. Ghidorah is like known as the one who is mini, and then they and then they just name him, aka like King Ghidorah.
King Ghidorah.
And then in my logo, I have King Ghidorah in the top of it.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I never questioned it. I never figured out what it was. I just thought it was.
It's
cool.
fine. I'm about to change it anyway. I'm working on a new logo, so it doesn't matter.
I just thought it was cool. So welcome back, everybody. Drunken Ship Podcast. Today we're going to be taking it kind of chill. We're just going to be talking about Valheim and the new Mortal Kombat movie that just came out a little bit ago. Which I think that's kind of the first thing that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the first Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah, we can get into that. Then we can get into our crackhead energy.
Yeah. But before we do any of that, what have you been up to, man? We have been.
Let's talk about Suffer Shot. How that went.
Oh yeah, dude.
My stomach's still recovering.
Mine too.
It's pretty upset. I didn't get a hangover like I thought I was going to.
I didn't even get drunk.
Yeah, I don't think Jello shots are strong.
I don't think they're very strong at all. I was like a little tipsy. That's about it.
I went to a Halloween party years ago and I did like 15 Jello shots and it just didn't faze me. Yeah. I don't know if it just takes forever, that the gelatin needs to dissolve or something, but
I don't know. Maybe there's just not a lot of liquor proportional to the thing,
or maybe like it dissolves or like it like dissipates within like the.
Maybe we should do all vodka instead of water. Like water and vodka. Ooh,
yeah, everyone get really even ground because there was like a big difference between me, you, and Tay because like it was like a scale. It was like here's Bryan on the Jello shot scale.
Yeah.
Here's me on the fireball, and then here's Tay shooting that hard brown liquor straight to the dome, bro. He was getting lit, like out of his mind.
Tay was gone.
He didn't know he was playing what game he was playing.
Okay, that's good. Tay, are you good? Do you need to go to sleep?
He's.
How you doing, bud?
Where are we at? What game is this?
Go to jackbox.tv and type WTPX, and then type in WTPX.
The room code.
Mm-hmm. Yep, in the room code.
Type in BIGPP.
Type in WTX.
It's nice. It's nice not having that shoe on my foot.
Yeah, that's true. It's nice not being the one that got too lit. Suffer Shot went amazing, man. I was really happy. Like before the stream started, I was like really nervous. We started with 165 subscribers, 165 people, and we ended with 184. Which means that we get...
Actually, I think we got to like 186 or 185.
Yeah, we got to 186 and then we lost 2 for some reason.
Fuck this.
Yeah, fuck those 2 people.
Bots.
Yeah, bots, all of them. But Suffer Show was super fun. Honey, who is in the chat. By the way, this is a live show, so if you see a chat somewhere, that's, when I cut it, that's because it's a live show. But Honeydew, who's in the chat right now, joined us. Kiapu sent over his crew from his Discord.
Legion.
He sent out his Legion. Kayla came and joined us. Violet Blue from ASMR and Twitch came and joined us. Odd Geek from Mode Diversity also joined us. It was just a really good group of people. Like a really good group of streamers and everything. Oh, Kiapu's live right now. It was just incredibly fun. And
dude, Kayla was destroying us in Drawful.
Yeah, Kayla was killing it, man.
She came in with just the snipes. So
and she was like quiet too the whole time. She was just like,
she's concentrating, bro.
But we had a lot of fun. I'm going to announce the winner of the Steam card giveaway pretty soon. I just gotta do it and like set up the random name generator. So if you subscribed, or if you were subscribed at any point in the channel up until Friday, then you are guaranteed to enter the drawing for the Steam card giveaway, and then a postcard that Odd Geek is donating to me as well. So you get a poster and a Steam card giveaway, which is a good timing because Resident Evil 8 comes out pretty soon, and I hope that a lot of people are gonna buy that. Whoever wins the Steam card is probably gonna buy Resident Evil 8. Maybe that's just me living vicariously through them. Just like, go buy it. But man, it was an incredible amount of fun. I'm like super proud of how it came together. I mean, our views were 10 plus for like 3.5 hours.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And Kiara and Jeremy and all of the people that showed up to the chat, thank you all so much. It was just incredibly fun, and I'm really proud of the little community that we have. And we got some new members on the Discord too, so hell yeah for you guys. Hell
yeah. Dude, I'm pretty pissed I wasn't able to be the imposter when we played Among Us.
Me too.
I really wanted to murk everybody.
Tay was fucking a little too chill as an imposter. It's like first time he's played in like 7 months or like a year almost. And Tay just walked over to me, kills me, and then looks at the camera and just goes like, yeah, I wonder who did that.
Some people are just too good at the game.
Yeah.
Just have too nonchalant. Tay had a couple of drinks in him and he was ice cold. Zero emotion.
Hannah's a little too, my girlfriend's a little too good at the game. Every time she's imposter, I die immediately. It's like she seeks me out.
She knows you're going to spot her out. You're going to call her out first.
Yeah. But yeah, man, Sulfur Show was super great. I had a great time. It was fun. I'm incredibly proud of, like just the fact that it came together. I was really anxious. I get really anxious or shit like that because when I'm like sort of organizing like the logistics of it, I expect everything to go wrong. And then like my computer will explode and then we just won't have any show or something like that. So a really good reassurance that it didn't.
I'm always anticipating that like something won't go the way we want it to go.
Yeah.
That's why I was like hammering down. We had that Suffer Shot planned for like 2 months straight.
Yeah, it really was like
and it was like months. Every week I was like chipping away everyone like, okay guys, we're gonna have this. Make sure you check this.
Yeah. And it was great. Really put a fire in my ass to like make sure that it went together.
Yeah, because the first time we did it through Discord, and it was kind of a mess because there was like certain quirks that we didn't know was going to happen. But doing it through StreamYard, that was like really nice because everything just worked really smoothly. You just send links out, and bam, people would be on stream.
Delicious. Man, it was super great. I am really happy. I was pleasantly surprised. To the 18 people that subscribed, thank you so much. To everyone that joined the chat, thank you so much. Means the world to us that you guys are dropping your support at us, and we'll keep making good shit for you to watch. On that note, let's make some good shit for you to watch right now.
Yeah,
let's talk about Mortal
Kombat. Mortal Kombat. What is your experience with the games?
I'm not a huge fan of the franchise. I've watched the franchise. I've played. What's the last? Is it Mortal Kombat 11? The current one. So I played 10. I played Mortal Kombat X. The one that came out like just above it. I played Mortal Kombat X, and I really liked it. But I'm in no like shape or form a huge fan of the franchise. I don't even really know like the story. I just know that you're like chosen.
No one does.
Fighters.
The story had to been retconned so many times because it's so chaotic.
Yeah, I feel like Mortal Kombat 11 is like the proper story now.
It reboots at 9 because that's when like they did a full on. That's when they started going into like because they had I think Apocalypse or whatever or Armageddon. That was the last one. I want to say it's like 2006 or something like then.
It was like one of the really bad games.
It was like the last game. People really liked it. It was just like it was supposed to be the end all be all like game where they just had everybody and then the whole world like ends at the end of the game or something.
Right.
And then they were like, all right, we're done with Mortal Kombat. And then they rebooted it and for 9, and then 9 launched the entire series, and then 9 was kind of like, okay, they're trying to get their footing. People were really into it.
Yeah, but I know that had a lot of problems, like in terms of like gameplay mechanics and everything like that.
Yeah,
none had a problem.
But when X came out, it was like I remember watching that at E3, and just the like graphic update on it was insane.
Oh yeah, that game looks incredible.
Like, combos and everything. Still, X is probably one of my favorite like Mortal Kombat games. It was incredible. And then now 11's out, and 11's so insane with the details.
Oh yeah.
Every little thing, everything, even every time like one character meets another character, there's always some special little quip that they have with it. It's really fascinating. So they went like over the edge with like they just took everything that was good with X and then they just
Made it
enhanced everything. Yeah. So the stories are always convoluted. They're very hard to follow. Mortal Kombat games don't really make a lot of sense.
They really don't.
Just because you're supposed to kill your opponent, and like that's really hard to progress the story like that when you're supposed to kill the opponent.
Kill everybody.
So there's a lot. It's very super wonky. It's very hard to keep them going unless you have just a ton of expendable characters. Which in video games sometimes that doesn't really make a lot of sense to make because that's a whole mod and a whole lot of time just for a wasted character slot.
Yeah, that's true.
So so no one ever really plays story mode. Fighter games, story mode is never really that good.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Like Mortal Kombat X and Injustice, like I really enjoyed playing the story mode to those games. I don't know what the fuck happened in Mortal Kombat X.
Yeah, with Shinnok and Cassie Cage.
Like who knows? Like Cassie was. I like playing the story because like Mortal Kombat and I know we're talking about the movie, but I want to talk about this because I think the movie should have taken a lot more cues from the game. So this is
you can't talk about the movie without talking about the games first.
That's also true. But Mortal Kombat 10 and 11 like had a really solid like story, like characters felt important, like they had really good character interactions. I like really liked the way that they presented the story in Mortal Kombat X and Mortal Kombat 11. And I haven't played 11. I've just watched people like play it. But it seems to be like the rules of the universe are more grounded in X and 11 than they've been in any other Mortal Kombat game. The characters have like actual stakes. Character introductions are really good, and like there's personality there to be had in the Mortal Kombat games, which is something that I haven't seen before. So I really like that about the games themselves.
I think the stakes in 11 is like the most realistic. Like there's actual like you actually have like sympathy for, characters and stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, especially in a series like Mortal Kombat, where it did start out as like just a fun game where people would just murk each other. But I think it's like storytelling got a little bit more important and like a little bit more heavy. Like they've definitely like evolved into something where characters have like a legitimate personality, and you can like characters now, and it's really cool to see. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the franchise. I'm like loosely attached to it. I've played it, but I'm not like a nerd about it.
Mortal Kombat is actually one of the first games I ever played.
Same.
I played it
64.
64, yeah. I think it was Mortal Kombat 3. It was like one of the first. It was like one of the first like console or arcade cabinets to come to console.
Yeah,
I remember like I would go down to our basement. My brother would be down there. He had like it was like a junk room, but he had certain junk pushed away, and there was a mattress that was just lying on the ground, and this big cabinet TV set up, and then on top of it was the 64, and we had GoldenEye, Mortal Kombat, Madden, and then there's some other games in there too. Star Wars Racer.
Oh, dude, that shit was awesome. Star Wars Pod Racer.
Pod Racer, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then I remember my brother would just annihilate me on Mortal Kombat. I had no idea what I was doing. The 64 controller was so bizarre because it just had a stick coming out of the middle, and you're like, what do I do with it?
Looks like a fucking batarang.
It's just they threw a flight stick on that controller just to have it. It's like, well, you need it.
Yeah, there you go.
Will I need it? That is probably other than the GameCube controller, that's probably one of the most chaotic looking controllers.
Oh yeah. The GameCube controller I think is a goddamn legendary controller.
People love that controller. Yeah. I do not
love it so much. It's like everything is laid out with how much you listen. Whatever, we'll talk about that some other time.
The big A button. Yeah, we can talk about that'd be a good podcast. Like
that would be
straight up just going over controllers.
Yeah, I used to play Mortal Kombat 64. My brother also used to have it. His 64 was his. And I used to play it when he wasn't home. And I remember the only move that I knew how to consistently do was Liu Kang's flying kick and the uppercut. That was it. That's all I knew in
The
my
only-
arsenal.
The only move I remember how to do was getting uppercut into a bed of nails. Never learned it.
It's a fun game, man. I remember really liking it. Sub-Zero was always my favorite.
Yeah.
He was fucking awesome.
You know Ed Boon, the creator, his favorite character is Scorpion.
Scorpion? Damn.
Yeah, so I don't think Scorpion can ever like really lose.
No,
Mortal Kombat.
Scorpion's always gonna be the big boss.
Yeah.
So
And then Oh,
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say that, and then after that, I played Deadly Alliance, which is like one of the on the Xbox, which is like it was like one of the first time they ever did like 3D arena,
I remember.
and
that,
you could
yeah.
sidestep and stuff. I played the shit out of that game,
Was it good?
and Sub-Zero was so badass in that game.
Nice.
And they gave like Scorpion katanas. They gave him these dual katanas they could use. That game was really fun. It was just super wonky because of the sidestepping and all. It was They were trying to do like, I guess like not Street Fighter, but
Tekken.
They were trying to do like Tekken-esque, which a lot of people in the series did not like that.
Yeah, I mean that's a super hard like gameplay style to pull off.
Yeah.
Arena fighters are difficult to make right. Yeah, so Mortal Kombat as a franchise, I think it's good, and it's been getting better as a video game franchise as time goes on. I really feel like NetherRealm is one of the few companies and development studios that like really learn from their games. Especially like after Mortal Kombat Injustice came out, it was fantastic. That being said, that does not reflect at all with the quality of this movie.
Well, they've had a long line of
they've
terrible.
had they have had bad.
Like, yeah, they had the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie, which is ultimately cheesy, but ultimately really fun to watch.
Was that Annihilation? Mortal Kombat Annihilation?
No, the Annihilation's the second one.
Got you. I haven't seen any of those.
There's been 3. So there's been the first Mortal Kombat, second, which I think is Annihilation, and then there's a third one.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a movie, and then it got made into like a TV series or something like that, like just episodic or something.
Interesting.
I never really watched it. People were really hyping it up. It looked like a YouTube series for me for the longest time. Yeah, I kept seeing trailers for it back when I was like in high school. I don't know. I never really fully knew it ever actually even came out, and apparently it did, and it had like episodes.
Interesting.
But it had like Jax and Reptile and stuff, and it was super realistic.
Okay, I think. Fuck. Mortal Kombat movies.
Like,
I've never watched a Mortal Kombat
Baraka
movie.
was in it too, and he was like a botched like surgeon or something, and then he like had plastic surgery to have like the blades coming out of his arm. It was super. They took a super realistic approach to it and stuff.
Okay.
But let's get into the current movie that just came out, which is a Warner Brothers I guess reboot of the series, which isn't actually like Mortal Kombat. It is a prequel to build up to Mortal Kombat, which I feel like they should have called it something else.
Well, they couldn't have without like really, like not associating it to the franchise,
Mortal Kombat: The First Strike.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Something cheesy.
It is. I absolutely did not like the movie whatsoever. I think the movie was just okay. I can't say that I didn't like it. This is where the movie gets complicated for me, because I didn't hate it. I didn't like it. It was just such a fucking meh feeling coming out from that movie. Like, I watched it and I just wasn't particularly excited about anything that was happening on screen, which is kind of sad for a Mortal Kombat movie, because everything in that game is so cool and deserves like a Van Halen guitar riff, yeah. Everything is and then nothing cool happened in the movie.
It's supposed to be super overly dramatic.
Yeah, and so the plot of the movie is that, according to IMDb, is MMA fighter Cole Young seeks out Earth's greatest champions in order to stand against the enemies of Outworld in a high-stakes battle for the universe. Two things. One, he didn't seek out anybody. Everybody found him.
Yeah, it was like Jax and Sonya.
Jax found him, and he sent them to Sonya and then the Raiden found them. That's about it. That's like what happened.
No, you had it the first time, Raiden.
Raiden. Okay, so
Which
Cole,
my man played. I'm
what's his
blanking
name?
on his name. He's Urasawa from Godzilla. I love that guy.
Tadanobu Asano.
Yeah,
he's
such
sick.
I love him.
He was honestly the best part of the movie for me.
He was a weird Raiden though. Weird choice.
Yeah. Everything about the movie.
Also, I have a theory. By the way, I just want to push back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know how, like I said, like Ed Boon is like he loves Scorpion and stuff.
Yeah.
I am fairly certain that they model Raiden's face, at least in 10, after Ed Boon's face.
Really?
If you play 10 and you look at Ed Boon and you compare him to Raiden, they look identical. It's like they have the same super bushy eyebrows and the same facial structure. And in 11, I think they changed it, but I swear to God, I think Ed Boon is Raiden in
Mortal Kombat 10.
X. Yeah, and 10.
That's
I just wanted to put that out there. I completely forgot about that, but I was like, that looks just like Ed Boon.
That's so funny. I look at Ed Boon. Ed Boon does not look like what I thought he looked like. That's hilarious.
Yeah, super bushy. I think he's like a very like, he's a very fun-loving guy, but it's just so weird that he like reigns over this like violent, the most bloodiest video game ever.
So back to the movie. The movie is Mortal Kombat 2021 is just entirely a movie full of weird choices. You know, like from the plot of the movie to the cast of the characters to like just everything that happens in the movie feels like it was a weird choice to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it feels like they should have thought it out a little bit more before they make a lot of those weird choices. And like my biggest problem with it comes from the fact that we were set up the first 7 minutes of the movie, which is I think my favorite part of the movie. Starts with,
and that's what everyone said too, is like the first part.
Yeah, because it starts with like Hanzo Hasashi, who plays him. I keep forgetting his name. Hanzo Hiroyuki Sanada. So the actor that plays him is phenomenal. I love that guy. I've seen him in a couple of other things. I think he's great. The first 7 minutes of the movie were the best part because it's when you set up the story. And this is what I thought was going to be. I thought the movie was going to be a story about Sub-Zero, Bihan killing Scorpion's clan, and then Scorpion going through like some sort of trial or some type of Mortal Kombat something in hell, and then coming back and then kicking Bihan's ass.
See, that would have been such a better movie, but they're following more of the Mortal Kombat 9 through 11 story, which is like they explain how, like, you know, who Bihan is, who Hanzo was prior to them becoming Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and then they can get into like that the Scorpion that kills Sub-Zero was not the original Bihan.
Yeah, it was like another dude.
Like I said, like it's so complex and it's just convoluted as hell. It's kind of very hard to like follow.
But it's fucking ridiculous.
But that's what they're going for. But that would have been a better movie.
Because it would have set up Mortal Kombat.
Like if they would have just said it in feudal Japan.
Yeah.
And just had it like just Sub-Zero, like just Bihan and Hanzo duking it out prior. That would have made a lot more sense than what the movie that we got.
It would have also made a lot more sense for those characters because those two characters are kind of like the iconic people of the franchise. Sub-Zero versus Scorpion, like that's always like kind of like what you think of when you think Mortal Kombat. So not only would it have made more sense to have a movie focus on those two for the first bit and then introduce Mortal Kombat as a concept and make kind of like a mini cinematic universe out of it, you know, where like it could have been like so much better. We could have had like a movie for like every character that was like of importance and sort of like reboot the franchise that way, and that would have been fantastic.
I think that I don't know about that.
I would have liked like
a lot of those
movies.
characters can't stand on their own.
I would like 3 movies out of this franchise, and the first one would have been Scorpio versus Sub-Zero, like that whole situation, watching Scorpio like hunt down Bihan and have that be a revenge story that was set up in the first 7 minutes of the movie. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that, but I would have loved that, and then I would have loved a movie about Johnny Cage. Which I think Ryan Reynolds would be a great Johnny Cage.
Well, wait, before you get into that,
Yeah.
this is supposed to be like a 3-part movie or something, because this movie's not Mortal Kombat, and is why I would have said like they should have called it like Mortal Kombat First Strike or something,
Right.
because it's a setup for the actual Mortal Kombat.
For the actual Mortal
So,
Kombat, which is another weird
yeah.
choice to begin with. Because like it's. Let me get my thoughts together on this thing.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, go ahead.
Mortal Kombat 2021 is a movie full of bad setups and bad payoffs. So like the first 7 minutes of the movie sets you up for a revenge story. It shows you the story of Sub-Zero and Bi-Han, but it doesn't really explain to you what's happening between them. It just tells you that Sub-Zero kills Scorpion's family and Scorpion dies, right?
Right.
So not only like you have to be kind of a fan to already know what the backstory there is, which is not welcoming to newcomers. So that's already the first bad choice. So then we get 7 minutes and we get set up in terms of structure for this revenge story between Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and then that gets thrown away, and then we get this Chosen One prophecy narrative with Cole Young, who I thought was going to be a second Scorpio, but instead became the bronze kneecap from like Fairly Odd Parents.
All right, I gotta correct you here. It's Scorpion.
It's You're right. It is
Scorpion.
Scorpion. It is Scorpion. Yeah. Bro, spoilers. It's been like a week. There we go. Hey, Monkey, how you doing?
I wanted to actually I meant to say that at the beginning of this, is like this is going to definitely be spoilers, but I think this beat Godzilla vs Kong on like the viewing scale. So it's very little that someone hasn't seen this movie apparently.
Yeah, and okay, and so we go into that. It sets up this fucking revenge story with Scorpion. Doesn't go anywhere with it. Absolutely drops it. 9 minutes into the film, just books that, and then does nothing with it for like an hour. And then we follow Cole Young, and he's like down on his luck. Like, I don't know what the fuck. Like, he's got a family. He's an MMA fighter that like just kind of sucks at fighting.
Wait, so me and Adrian had a joke about this. We thought that was his mom. Like, it was so bizarre how they had that set up. So, like, the way they don't really introduce the lady, so obviously that's either his little sister or his daughter.
Yeah. And
you're trying to figure out, okay, is that his daughter or she was like half Asian? So I was like, okay, that's probably his daughter.
Yeah.
And then they had an way older woman.
That was his partner? Or I thought it was his girlfriend.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I thought it was his mom at first. I'm like, oh, it's because they're like, no, I don't watch his fights. I'm like, oh, okay, that's his mom. She don't want to watch him.
Right.
And then like when they're at the burger shop or whatever, they kiss, and I'm like, what? I'm like, wait, that's his girlfriend? I'm like, all right. Please establish that before you. Yeah, like I was really under the impression that was his mom.
Make that a little bit more clear.
I was like, "What is happening?" Hold on. So there's not a lot of great, I don't know, explanation on a lot of stuff that's happening.
The movie doesn't tell you a goddamn thing. Yeah, the movie doesn't tell you a goddamn thing that you need to know as an audience member. It just kind of throws you into this loosely tied together plot and expects you to keep up with it, but it does it's just like okay, so it's campy. We follow Ko Young for like this X amount of time before any fight happens. We follow Ko Young for like 15 minutes. Nothing happens, and then suddenly he loses a fight. First of all, which is not a great introduction. He loses a fight, and then Sub-Zero comes after them. After like maybe like a couple of clips.
I don't know if it's just like lazy writing or it's just, but like they got to show him like losing something. They got to show him he's lacking something. Yeah. So in the end that he wins a fight at the last of it. But that seems lazy writing, or because I could figure that out. I'm not a writer.
It's not lazy writing. They just did it very poorly. Because when you do that as a writer, that first fight that he loses has to have some significance, right? So in order for that to work, the first fight that he had to lose would have had to be a fight with Sub-Zero. And then he would have had to redeem himself in a final fight against Sub-Zero again in order for that to work. But because it was some random MMA fucking dude that nobody knows anything about and we never see again for the rest of the movie, he just looks like a shit fighter. Like he just looks like.
They should have made him look like Sub-Zero, like put him in blue trunks, like
something
have it,
like that.
Mr. Cool Ice across his chest.
Yeah, something.
If anyone understands that joke, I applaud you. If you know who Mr. Cool Ice is,
no idea.
There's it's an old meme where this dude had all these tattoos of Mr. Cool Ice all across and down his body.
Oh God, I do see that now.
It's super old. My age is showing.
So like, not only did they set up the beginning of the movie was set up poorly, Cole's arc was also set up poorly because we don't know what he's got to lose in this fight. We don't know why he's the chosen one, other than the fact that he's the kid from Hanzo in Japan, but he's not also his kid. It's like a super late descendant of that family that Raiden rescued because he knew that he was the chosen one, I guess. And so then Sub-Zero comes after him, and then he gets rescued by Jax.
Oh, can I also say, like,
Yeah.
it was super weird. For like that, like almost like half the movie, I thought that I was really under the impression that he was Scorpion's son.
Yeah.
And then, because they never show, but it's actually his great grandmother. Like, he is like the descendants.
Yeah, he's like a 4,000-year-old descendant. Yeah.
They really should have shown like her or like growing up and stuff, and then passing on that bloodline to Cole, because they never explain how Cole just randomly doesn't grow up in the sacred temple and then get dropped off.
Yeah.
Because all they never say that he was an orphan. They should have. Why would but like it makes no sense with like why Raiden didn't. They never show Raiden like leaving him and why he would leave him as an orphan to grow up in a human world. It makes literal no sense. It's so confusing.
Absolutely no sense in that regard. I totally agree, because Raiden rescued him, and Raiden knew that he was like the prophecy kid. There's a reason he rescued him, and then he's got that Mortal Kombat mark bullshit. It's like a birthmark, and nobody questioned that. Nobody questioned a dragon-shaped birthmark out of nowhere, like just that detailed.
I give him some leeway. They'd be like, "Oh, it's a dragon. What the fuck?
Yeah, whatever. It's weird." But like this is two movies in one. They try to jam two movies into one, and it did not work. It did not work. We should have either seen Cole's entire story and have it be a prophecy, chosen one narrative.
Yeah, exactly. I think it should have been like just straight on Cole, because like the thing with Sub-Zero and Bi-Han at the beginning, or Sub-Zero and Scorpion at the beginning. I think that was a really cool idea, but they should have really just left that and let it go and just focus on Cole, because that only confused. That really only like added to the confusion. Yeah,
and so why is Bi-Han the same Sub-Zero, but now we're fighting like 4,000 years old from fucking Cole? It's just like, it just messes up the narrative. And like, Cole has no beef with Bi-Han. Cole has no idea until Bi-Han threatened his family, right? That's like when Cole has beef with him. So it's like a stupid revenge story. So it should have just been Cole from the beginning, trying to figure out how to, like finding out his powers, finding out that he's being hunted because he's the chosen one to do this. Or it should have been a revenge story between Bi-Han and Scorpion. That's really what the movie should have been. It's two movies in one. And the first movie is split in half by an hour of the second movie. And then the second movie tries to like messily conclude everything by like having Scorpion and Cole fight together in a scene where nobody speaks the same language. They have no way of communicating, and they seem to magically understand each other through like the magic of their ancestors. And like, it's like Scorpion all the time was like saying, "Hey, free me, like let me fight." But like, why did Cole have to release him from hell when he controls hell? Like, you see what I'm saying?
By the end of this, I was hammered drunk, and I could. So I should have a disclaimer. I had been drinking heavily watching this film.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, I was gone. I was vibrating. My brain was vibrating. But I could still tell, even through that, the movie was not good. Like, the plot was, I could not follow.
And like, the thing is that like, the plot of the movie was so messy and convoluted that it really hindered any of the positive things that the movie has. And it's all a matter of like the thing that went wrong with the Mortal Kombat movie was the tone of the movie was wrong. It tried to be campy, but it tried to be true dramatic at the same time. So like the movie was fighting with itself. You know, like you can't be campy.
Yeah, when someone said it was trying to be campy, I was like, oh, that makes sense, because I was getting the vibes of it. It was like, oh, it's trying to be like serious through the entire film of it. And when I was like, okay, they're just making really like they're trying to make a lot of references to the old series by everything. I just never picked up the vibes that it was trying to be campy, but until someone said it, and then I'm like, oh, that makes sense now.
But that's why the movie kind of falls on its own, like it's on its own tone, because it's trying to be campy with everything that's happening with Cole, but it set itself up as being really serious by everything that was happening with Scorpion, and so the movie looks like it's trying to be serious and looks like it's trying to be dramatic, but all the comedy and all the jokes and dialogue make it feel like it's trying to be really campy. And so none of them fall in place. So all we're left with is like this movie that's like trying too hard to be something, never quite getting there, and kind of falling off as being kind of cringy in that regard. And that kind of sucks because I like a lot of what the movie was trying to do in its campiness. You know, like a lot of people criticize the times where like Kano rips Reptile's heart out and he goes, Kano wins, or whatever the fuck, like those kind of moments. The movie, the people try to criticize those, but I think that the movie, if it had the opportunity to be campier, that would have been fantastic, because it would have introduced a lot of fun of the Mortal Kombat series into the movie. And it didn't work because it's flatly lit. It's not very dramatically lit. So everything kind of looks the same no matter the location. Everything is just kind of flat, and it doesn't look like it's trying to be anything campy or have fun with itself, other than that introducing this weird dialogue that feels overacted and unrealistic when it comes to like the way that these characters interact. Like Sonya felt really not Sonya Blade-ish to me, you know? Like like Sonya didn't feel like Sonya Blade. Jax was the one that felt the most like Jax. But it's like I don't know. They swung too hard into one direction and then they try to correct it, but they couldn't. They just really could not correct it. So all you're left is a movie that is tonally inconsistent. The dialogue is contrived, and none of the characters really feel like characters from the Mortal Kombat franchise.
They did get one thing right. They did get like character design, and so like oh no, well now it eludes me. Cabal.
Cabal looked fucking sick.
Yeah, Cabal, his like the costume design for Cabal was amazing. Cabal acted just like Cabal would. Mm-hmm. So I think they nailed a lot of things like that. Yeah. So I think where the movie definitely falls short in the plot writing.
Yeah.
And I think it's because they just couldn't make their mind up on what kind of direction they wanted to go with.
Yeah.
They didn't really know what basis they were wanting to start with. They didn't know if they wanted to do a serious tone base or they wanted to go with a campy base. And then you got a weird mix where it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Yeah. And you have a lot of audience members confused, like me. I thought it was serious, and then other people are like, "No, I get it, it's campy."
Yeah.
Because they have a lot of phrases injected, like a lot of things from like the pop culture version of it, and then the games are really injected into the movie, but it's a serious tone of a movie, so it just comes off weird.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't fall.
Yeah.
It comes off cringy, because when you try to inject something like fatality into something serious, you look like an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, whoever says it looks like an asshole.
It's like when something's going good, and there's something, you won't notice everything that's good, but if something is bad, it will stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, it will kind of jump at you. And so I really liked a lot of good things about the movie. Like the character design was really solid. The production design on the sets felt really good as well. Like the location and where everything happened looked really good. But it doesn't help the movie because the movie is so fundamentally broken in a structural sense. that everything that happens just feels like a jumbled mess, and it's just boring. It's a boring Mortal Kombat movie.
Did the second end of the movie feel like it just like half baked to you?
It just felt like it happened because
I feel like there was momentum building,
mm-hmm.
and it just kind of stops at the temple, and then that's it. I feel like we should have had another whole nother like location shot and in a ring. Other than I feel like the movie just jams up right at the temple.
Yeah, the movie really did just. Who's calling me? Oh, that's my mom. Sorry, mom. The movie really just stopped at the temple, and I think that they were building to kind of like do a training montage and then be at Mortal Kombat. That's what I thought was going to happen.
They were building it. There was momentum building up once they got to the temple, and then Kano turns, and then the momentum of it just train wrecks, and it stops completely. And then they just have a fight at the temple, and you're like, well, the way they were going with the rest of the film, they're like location, build up, location, build up, location, build up. I felt like they should have busted out the temple, had like some circular ring or some kind of pit or something.
Something that looked more like the game, that you can call back visually to the game.
Right. Which I get it, like this is supposed to be the first of like, this isn't actually Mortal Kombat, this is like a basis for the actual tournament that's coming up.
Right.
And they should have built this movie with like lead up or like there's a tournament coming. They should have had like this should have been the Affinity War to Endgame.
Yeah, I
in a sense, like with like how those movies were built up and in what way. There was none of that. It would just ate shit right at the end, and then the movie just ends.
Yeah, it really does.
Granted, the movie does end with like at the MMA Frozen Sub-Zero thing.
Yeah.
Which that I forgot about, but
the last shot of the movie is literally Raiden saying, "We need to get every other fighter because we have a tournament," and then the movie fucking ends.
Which, why I keep saying like the movie shouldn't have been called Mortal Kombat. It should have been like First Strike or Mortal Kombat, like or MK, and then
MK the First Strike or whatever the
beginning hell. Or something to like allude to you that this is a beginning of a franchise. You can't just call it Mortal Kombat, and then there was like almost like no Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
Yeah, it
sounds like I'm a crackhead, but like that's exactly what I'm trying to say. It's like that's the best way I can explain it.
And it would have worked. It would have also worked if we would have taken the narrative solely from Cole's perspective and then lead that into the next Mortal Kombat, where we would have dealt with more of like, what is Mortal Kombat? What are the gods think about Mortal Kombat? Why is Bihan here? And we would have delved into a little bit more character into that later on in the second movie, when Mortal Kombat becomes a much more like big part of the series. But because this is literally just characters talking to each other for an hour and a half, and then punching each other for an hour, and then a half hour of them killing the bad guys. That is it.
I feel like they wasn't confident in this movie doing well or something. Like they were scared to take a risk, and they had to put. Look, this movie was made before the pandemic.
Yeah,
it makes sense on how they had to have this portrayed. You had to have Scorpion, you had to have Sub-Zero in there because people aren't going to go watch a Mortal Kombat movie without there seeing their favorite characters.
Yeah,
I get that. They did not have confidence in the movie. This could have been a good movie if you just let the writers actually write out, from a basis of just a new character. So Cole, that's why this movie I feel like that's why they like tried to shove in that random shit with Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Yeah. That makes sense, but probably for some lead up into like a second movie or something like that, or better, congested in there.
Yeah.
I get it. They shove that in there just for the sake of getting you to go to the theater to watch it, which didn't happen because COVID, and now you're watching it at home. This movie did well regardless.
You know what would have been a much better ending? They leave the beginning of the movie the first time, like the first 7 minutes, keep the Hansel and Scorpion thing, and then at the end of the movie, after Cole fights the baddie or whatever, have Scorpion appear in front of Sub-Zero, and then stab him in the shoulder and say, "Get over here," and then the movie ends. Like that would have been to set you up for the revenge story.
Scorpion did show up though, right?
He did show up at the end, but he fought with Cole. What I'm saying is that Cole, they should have taken Shang Tsung out of the temple, right? They should have just won that fight by themselves. And then the movie should have ended at Sub-Zero showing up and about to fight Bihan. And then we should have ended the movie and then just prepped that up for the second part of the film.
Yeah.
That would have been a much better ending. And like this movie, okay, let me celebrate the movie for the things that it did right. The production design of the movie is incredible. I bought all of those locations. It looked good. Visually, it looked pretty good. It wasn't interestingly lit. It wasn't like doing anything crazy with the fight scenes. There were a lot of cuts, a lot of close-ups when hits were landing, which leads me to believe that the choreography of the movie is not very good because they're covering their mistakes with the cuts. You know, I would have loved to see a Mortal Kombat movie with the same choreography quality as like a John Wick movie, you know? Like
long drawn out like fight scenes.
And I know that it's really hard because you got a lot of like really composition heavy shots in the movie. But if you were to give us like 1 minute of fight scenes that were just that like really long drawn
I don't know. I feel like they could have got away with that too. Honestly, they could have gotten away with just because their costume design department was actually doing like even with Cabal's eyes wasn't even CGI. Those were lights in his head and stuff. They could have got away. I think a lot of like they could have got away with a lot of like light composition.
Yeah.
Just like maybe like smoke effects, particle effects coming off them or something.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't need to necessarily go heavy, just have a little bit more budget in the costume design, and then they could have really drawn out, nice choreographed fight scenes, which that's your whole premise for Mortal Kombat is to have a fight.
Absolutely,
and of course, so I think they could have got like John Wick or
something like Atomic Blonde, where like all the action happens in a long white lens, and then we just really close for the dramatic moments. That would have made the fight scenes look really better.
Give me like a Daredevil hallway scene, an old boy hallway scene. Give me something just long, drawn out, and like hardcore, because like they couldn't got away with like less fights. Just like they just did 3 main fights, but they were just really good fights. I think they could have really hammered home something like that.
I absolutely agree with you. I think that would have been the route that I was taking because that's the route that the movie wanted to take. I can see by the beginning of the movie that the movie wanted to take that serious, sort of more grounded approach. But then there was probably some studio interference that said, no, you got to make this more campy and funny.
That's what I'm saying. Like with the whole like Sub-Zero and Scorpion thing, that was definitely that was injected in after they wrote the script.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can tell that this movie, there's like weird beats to the movie where it doesn't really make sense with the line of the movie because Cole is obviously the main character, but there's weird blob, like think of a through line, just a straight line, and then there's this blood clots in weird interjections, and it's where the studios like come in injected plot points and shit to make you go watch the movie to make it offbeat. Movies are really good when you would imagine imagine like a Mortal Kombat movie without the main characters. It's just based in that world. That can be good, but no one would go watch it because why would they fucking care if they're not watching if they're not really into it. Like they're trying to get butts in the seat. They're trying to get your attention because you wouldn't go watch it with that. You're like, where the fuck is, like, to the average viewer.
Right.
Us, on the other hand, we know this series. We know it, so we would trust to go in and see it. So that's the issue. It's like you if it's not a well-known title, then it's not going to do well because people don't give a shit. But like let's say the example for like the Marvel movies, people saw Endgame because there was 6,000 movies already explained everything, and then they had room. So Endgame is so good, or not Endgame, but Infinity War so good because Thanos. The movie's not even about like the Avengers. It's about Thanos' story, which is why it's better than Endgame because they had room. They had a massive amount of room to make a unique story.
No, I totally agree.
This is why movies eat shit, and why we have to trust like these writers to actually make something good. If it's not, I'm just rambling. And
no, you're
I
good.
think we can just move on. But it's just a pet peeve. I'm just like, just let people express and let people do weird and new creative ideas. Please stop making just reboots of shit and just make something new and organic.
Yeah.
Like we could have had a good Mortal Kombat movie, but the studio just people don't want to lose money. They don't want to take risks. There's no risks involved.
And that's really what it boils down to. I think the movie had a lot of potential. The fights had a lot of potential. I love every shot that had a really VFX heavy element, like a fatality, like Kung Lao using the hat and Jax losing his arms, and like all of those kind of shots, or Cassie killing Mylena
to the game.
Yeah, and they were fantastic. Those shots were genuinely really good. We just, one, didn't have very many of them, and two, didn't have the appropriate setup for them. So everything just felt kind of a little underserved. That being said, I don't think the movie is disgustingly bad. I think it's a 4 out of 10, because it is an easy to watch blockbuster that has some fight scenes that are kind of exciting. You
say bloodbuster because that's a really good. That's a really good phrase for it.
I said blockbuster, but Bloodbuster also works.
Bloodbuster is so much better. Yeah, that would have been a good ugly trailer, the Bloodbuster of the summer. That would have been really good.
I would have loved the campiness of that. That would have been great. But yeah, the movie's just weighed down by its own insecurity. The movie is bad because it wasn't confident in what it wanted to be. And that kind of sucks because I think it would have been a really good...
Let's get into Valheim, bro.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about... God, this is what I hate about shooting in at 6 p.m. My light just changes so much throughout the fucking...
Oh, yeah, you getting that sundown effect?
I'm getting dark, boy. Let me bring myself... yeah, let's talk Valheim, man. I've been fucking loving Valheim.
I've been straight addicted. So, just a little context on what we're... while we're talking about Valheim is... the Drunken Ship Discord... You probably have seen or heard about it by now if you're listening to this episode and you're not new. But if you're not familiar with that, we have a Drunken Ship Discord. We also have a certain chat in there called Valheim, and there's a big group of us from the Discord that all play Valheim together. And it has been so much fun to have a massive group of people to play that game together. It
is so good. And for anyone that doesn't know what Valheim is, first of all, get it. It's $20 in Steam. And then second of all, it's a Viking Minecraft. That's the best way to put it. It's just Viking Minecraft. And I just love everything about that game. Iron Gate is doing such a good job at just giving you little tidbits of exploration and building shit. The building mechanics are so solid. So good. I didn't think that I would be addicted to it as I was, but I think I've played every single night for at least 3 hours in the last 2 weeks.
Well, if you can tell, I look like a freaking crackhead right now because the last 2 days, so yesterday and today, I have probably put in maybe 32 hours. Just nonstop. It's all day. I've spent my entire weekend maybe doing a little cleaning and then just playing Valheim.
Just Valheiming it up.
I cannot stop playing because I was playing a little bit before, and if you watch some of my streams, they're a little bit slower because when you're by yourself, it's very hard to progress. The game is in pretty much alpha right now.
Yeah.
But there is so much that you don't even there's no way you could see all of it by yourself. Probably it would take you maybe 50, 70 hours to get to where we're at now within a week with just a group of 10 people pretty much.
Yeah.
But dude, I can't stop. I can't put it down. It's so much fun. The mechanics of building of the game is amazing. They're incredible. The mechanic loops of finding materials, building.
The way that you need to progress to get the materials is also really good. The combat is Dark Souls light too, which is
it's a typical hack and slash. I wouldn't say Dark Souls.
Well, no, because of the parry mechanics and everything. You really do have to manage your stamina and parry block perfectly so that you can do the damage that you want to do. It's Dark Souls light.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. That's fair to say.
Yeah.
And then even the main thing with a lot of the stuff revolves around what I'm not really ever seen in a game not ever, but I've not seen in games, a lot of games I haven't seen this, is your food. So your food source is your lifeline. your base health will always be 25, and most things will kill you they'll do 25 damage to you.
Yeah, at least most things will fuck you up.
You have to constantly keep your health up, and the better food you have, the stronger you are, and you constantly have to keep that going. Which makes the game super unique in that way, is that like a lot of your survival, it depends on you pushing a little bit further and further and further
every single time, because you start out in like the meadows, which is like this really nice cozy area, but in order to progress into the game you have to venture into the hardest bits, and in order to progress you have to prepare, and in order to prepare better you kind of have to like naturally, there's a lot of growth that happens organically, you know, in the game, which is like the best way to reward the player. The player doesn't get punished for exploring, or it doesn't get punished for not eating. It just doesn't get the buffs that it needs to keep going unless you start engaging with the mechanics in the game. And that's when the game gets really fucking fun. When you like really start saying like, oh, if I eat this, I'll get way more health than if I don't. Let me make more of that. And then when you go mine that, you suddenly find yourself finding 700 other things that you can do. And you're like, oh, fuck, this is amazing. And then you start learning gradually.
You know where it starts at is like your stamina. So you need stamina to do certain things. So you're like, okay, I don't want to build a house. So you go to cut down a tree. You run out of stamina really quickly, and you're like, well, this is taking me forever. But then you slowly realize, like, if I eat something, it's going to expand that out. Yep. So your health and your stamina is linked together depending on what foods you have. So more health you have, more stamina you have to expend.
Yep.
So you're like, oh, this is what the key is. So progressively, I want to get stronger. The more you want to do, and you're like, God, this is taking forever, and I want to do this quickly. It's going to make you venture out more. The more like, oh, if I killed this, I can make a stew, and this stew, I can make this, and then you slowly get into a loop of combat, and your reward is food, and then you keep going and going and going.
And the more you play, the more you learn, and it's so satisfying. And if you like us, if you like us, have like a bunch of friends, you can rent out a server for like $10 a month, and then you guys all have access to that server 24/7. And that has been the best decision that I've made. That's been incredible to play with the Discord guys. Super fun. Super fucking. In fact, Bryan put a video here of what happened last night while we were playing Valheim.
Oh yeah, there's two of them in there.
That is the shaman.
Yeah, there's two of them in there.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know you were gonna fire at it right now.
Oh shit! Sorry. I'm sorry.
Let me get out of here.
I'm so sorry.
Everyone needs to back up because.
Oh no!
Back up, right? Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh no!
You attracted all of them.
I thought that was our next target. I'm sorry.
Sage.
Ethan.
Yeah.
Cool.
May need your help.
The troll's gonna be
pretty
dangerous.
Oh shit! What happened to you, Sage?
I don't know.
That's a 1-star fueling.
Karma.
That's what we're talking about. That's why you don't fire on him.
You got too confident.
Oh, Ethan's also
everyone
dead.
retreat.
Yeah,
everyone
Ethan's
retreat.
also dead.
Absolutely run away.
I'm coming back. Don't worry.
My bad.
That was hilarious. Oh, I didn't know you were gonna fire at
Oh,
it
dude,
right
there's so
now.
many. What the fuck?
Bryan, watch
Yeah,
out! Watch out! Watch out!
there's
Watch out!
another patrol.
Oh no.
Oh no, I'm about to.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Retreat.
Everyone
Just
get,
run.
everyone get.
Let's
just
get the
run.
fuck out of here.
This sword art are line all.
I'll fire at them as they're coming.
Thanks.
Just keep going.
I'll distract him now.
Shit.
Now that I'm
Dude,
naked,
if you have a sword, if you have a like, don't try to. Yeah, just get out of here. They will.
Oh my god,
hit
there's a
you.
there's a
No-
mosquito.
Yeah,
I think that's
they'll
coming for me.
insta-kill you.
Oh my god.
No, the mosquito's coming for me.
Where is
No.
it? Oh,
He's
up
like,
there?
he's coming after Hannah. I think.
And there's another one. There's
Oh.
another one.
Sage, you really fucked us here,
Fuck,
man. I'm gonna be honest with you. You really shagged it up.
I see that.
Oh
yeah.
god.
It's alright,
Oh.
we were doing good.
Hannah's dead. Oh fuck!
Oh no!
We're getting picked up one by one.
You guys are doing so good.
God damn, dude! It's only oh no, there's another mosquito. Dude, it's just graves. There's just graves everywhere around me. Oh no!
Sage, I don't know why you're running back. I don't know why you're running back right now. He is naked running. He is corpse
God damn.
running back.
Oh yeah, the group.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's super fun. I really like Valheim. I really hope, like, I've seen the roadmap. So me and a couple of the other people in the Discord server went off to the edge of the map, and we fell off it. We just fucking fell off the edge of the map and lost all our shit. But we did find 2 biomes that are still underdeveloped or under development that are going to be added into the game. And it's just like such a cool experience to like see the game being developed. Iron Gate is doing a fantastic job. It's like genuinely one of the best games that I've played. In like,
Oh, I got to tell you,
Yeah.
we did get attacked by Sterling today.
oh yeah, at the base.
Yeah, at the base, I was like making a little garden, and then like a fireball came out and just hit me in the back of the head, and I'm like, what? What was that? And then I look behind him, and there's like 20 of them running around, and I'm like, this is the most chaotic thing ever.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah, man, Valheim is fantastic. I absolutely love it. In fact, it's to the point where like I really want to like start streaming it, but it's like such a casual game to stream. And like the game happens in like big bursts. Like you have like a week of prepping where you're like just mining resources, and then you have like one day where you kill everything in sight.
That's also another good thing about the game is like the loop of it. There is like, so it's not just a basic sandbox. There's actual bosses. So there's 5 bosses, and there's at a certain point, the first boss is super easy to kill.
Yeah.
Maybe like a day of prepping. The second boss, you know, like a little bit of prepping, maybe 3 or 4 days. This third boss is when it gets there's like
We're prepping for like a
definitely
week.
gradual heal where it's like, okay, this is like a learning curve. There's like I'm gonna actually have to know this biome. And also, they're all in different biomes, and they all have unique powers. So you kill one boss, you take it to the starting point where you started, you can get a certain power point. So it keeps you pushing. It pushes you to go and fight these bosses because you want the powers to progress, because they're definitely going to help in the long run.
Right. Yeah, and that's totally it. Like it's the gameplay loop is so good because of that. Because you get to learn your limits really quickly. You know, and then you're like, oh fuck, I gotta get better at that. And the game never punishes you for exploring. Like you can always go get your stuff back. It's not like Minecraft, you know, where like
or building either. It doesn't punish you for like placing something. You can just like if you like you messed up the place, you're like, crap.
Yeah.
Well, you can just destroy it and then replace it back again, and you're like, oh, okay, sick. So you can move stuff around too.
Yeah, you don't lose, like you don't need resources to fix your shit. You don't do resources to rebuild something that you like destroyed because you get all your resources back, which is like the unique thing about a lot of the sandbox games like that, because every sandbox game like Rust is really unforgiving. Valheim is actually really forgiving, but it's also really difficult to get into because it's a lot of information. It can get overwhelming. But if you follow like just the natural progression of the game for you, it is like one of the most satisfying experiences I've had in a sandbox. And I just don't like sandboxes. And I like love Valheim. I like...
You know what? The best way... This is how good the game was made is you can learn genuinely a lot of stuff about the game by just trying to build a house.
Yeah. Yeah, you really can.
Just go out and try to build a house. And you will learn so much. You're like, oh, I need this and this and this. And this is how you do this. And this, like, oh, I'm in this forest. And then, oh, I see something. Just that small thing. Because the mechanics of building a house is very wide. That you have a lot of, you can expand out. So it's going to make you want to expand out more. And it's going to get you involved with exploring out more in the game.
And everything that you need to build a house is something that you have to go out and get. So like you always have to venture. At some point, you have to venture back out. And it's just so good. It is so good. I cannot celebrate it enough. How ingenious some of those gameplay mechanics are, and like how much fun I've been having with it. I mean, my girlfriend's got like 70 hours in it, and I got like 60 hours in it. We started playing like 2 weeks ago.
Damn, if you have that many hours, I wonder how many hours I have. I at least have to have like 80 or 90 hours into it now.
Yeah, because you were the first one that started playing with us. You're the one that got us into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, it's a great game.
Like,
get a server. If you haven't played it, get a server.
Pick it up and then try it out, see if you like it. But I would highly recommend like playing with some friends before you give up on it.
Yeah.
Like play with a group of people. Actually, you know what?
Play with us.
Yeah, if you guys are interested in playing it, join the Discord, We have a big group of people. We're more than welcome to have you guys come on and make a house, and then we'll take you out. We can show you the ropes, show you how to play, and then we can show you how to do it like pretty much an expedition like we did last night, where we killed the third boss, and then we went into the most dangerous area that we could, and then that was such a time, and you probably already put the clip in, but damn, that was crazy.
Put it again. Put that flaming arrow again that just shacked us all.
Oh, Sage killed us all, bro. It just took one slip off for it just to be chaos. Complete. We're doing so well. We were like still Team 6, and then we just got turned into just like, retreat.
Yeah,
like,
just fucking chickens. We turned into chickens with our heads cut off trying to run.
Scatter. Yeah, we went scatter.
And the crazy thing about the game is that it still has so much more room to grow because the developers are actively working on it. And it's such a small studio. It's just delicious. And I like it so much that I want to email the developers and just be like, hey, can we please, like, we're a small channel, but like give us something. Like, what can we do? Yeah. Because like I just wanna absorb more of the game. It's really fucking good.
This is definitely gonna be like one of the next big games.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it already is, honestly, and it's like just started.
The game is an alpha, but the game has such good bones that they could have released just this game and I'm like, yeah, this is the finished game.
Yeah. No,
like,
it genuinely feels like good.
Like, it's crazy. And it's also, the game is super low poly, it makes it easy to run. But the game looks incredible. I don't know how they did a lot of lighting effects with it, but there's certain areas when you're in like the Black Forest where the sun will hit right and there's fog and mist. And it just looks stunningly beautiful. And I'm like, Jesus, this game looks like a PS2 game at some points, but then there's these incredible moments where you're like, wow, I forget that I'm playing this. And it works really well because you need a low poly for all of this stuff to be happening.
Yeah.
But they use certain lighting effects to make it almost look like a AA game.
Yeah, just make it look like really stunning. It's particle effects, it's lighting effects, it's like the dynamic quality of the world, like all the systems that go into the dynamicness of it, like the physics engine, like if you hit a tree and it falls into something else, like it will do damage to it. It's just
also the world is stupidly massive.
Oh yeah, it's so big.
It is one of the biggest like sandboxes I've ever played. There's so much room to explore that like you just go off in one direction and be fine. Unless you fall off the world like Bryan did the other night. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. It's about time.
The game is actually meant for you to explore all of it. It's almost overwhelming at first.
Yeah.
But then it's a slow burn if you let it be a slow burn.
Yeah. And I think that's the best way to play it. Like you really have to slow down and then like learn the basics and then go out and explore at your own pace.
Enjoy yourself.
Yeah. I mean, have a good time.
Yeah. Build your house, build a little garden, experiment. There's so much, it's so diverse on like the building materials and stuff that you can do crazy builds. Like I've been like really into watching people build buildings and they're insane. I'm like, how did you guys even figure out how to do that? It's because there's just so diverse in like all the materials that you can use.
You guys have really got into building circles lately, like circle houses.
Yeah. Because it's a little complex, but not overly complex. But you can make some really, really interesting designs. I mean, you could just go in there like Kazari, like he made his house just randomly. He was just throwing stuff together, and it looks really cool.
Yeah. No, it is a phenomenal game. I give all the props to Iron Gate for making something like so fun, so collaborative. Like every so often, there's a game that like really catches me and just goes like, "Hey, you're gonna be playing this for like the next 6 months." Yeah, just so you know. And Valheim is it, man.
And then they also have like Ethan was posting in the Discord yesterday that they just have like a roadmap out. And I'm like, geez, they're gonna add more stuff into this game. And because I genuinely forget that this is an alpha game.
Yeah, me too.
Because I'd be like, if you add any more, it is gonna be like almost like a perfect game.
Absolutely, it's gonna be a 10 out of 10. It's already like an 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah,
I'm really gonna be good. We love it. We're gonna upload. I'm gonna put some clips here just because that's so much fun.
You should do like a montage at the end of the thing. Of like, but damn, dude, I want to go play some more Valheim.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna wrap it up. Let's go.
Wrap up, yeah.
This is how good the game is. I have spent hours on the game with Crockett, like 6 hours on the game with Crockett. We go to do a show or we go to do something, and then we go back and then we spend another 6 hours playing together.
Yeah.
It's a great game. It's a great game.
I like the last 2 weekends I've had just all Valheim. I haven't got anything else.
Adriana's at this point probably going like, man, I gotta get rid of that fucking
Dude,
game.
it's a level I'm at. I'm in the game. I was showing her the portal hub I made last night.
Yeah.
I was like, babe, check this out. Look at it. Look, like I made like I know in the back of my mind, I'm like, she doesn't care. This I probably look just so. I look like a child showing a macaroni drawing, and she's gonna put it on the fridge for me.
Yeah.
But I don't even care because I spent like 7 hours making this, so I'm proud of it. So look at it. That's
adorable.
Yeah,
I love that.
I completely lost it. I'm a straight crackhead right now for the game, but I really want to go play it. So,
all right,
guys, thank you so much for coming down. We do appreciate it. It's Bryan. Where can they find you at?
They can find me at Twitter at Bryan Archilla, and then on Twitch at BryanBrowny.
Guys, if you want to follow me, you can follow me at Twitter at cyber_calamity, and you can follow me on Twitch at CyberCalamity. Actually, here, if you're watching the live show, you can just give you the follow if you like it. So, guys, if you like the show, give us a like. If you dislike, give us a dislike. Also, the Drunken Ship has a Twitter. I don't know if you guys know it. We're going to be announcing the giveaway for the $6 game card, Steam card there.
Mm-hmm.
So be on the lookout. We'll probably already have it announced by the time this show goes.
Yeah,
up.
I'm going to try to get that done
And
by
then-
the time this releases.
Also, right before we leave, I do want to say next week's show is episode 50, and we have something very special planned for you guys. So you definitely want to check that show out next week, next Tuesday. So you definitely don't want to miss that. I promise you, you'll be blown away with that show. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for coming down. We do appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next one. So
cheers. Take it easy, guys.